All right, welcome back in to another episode of Keeping Up with Douglas Athletics. Time to talk a little soccer now. It's good to have you guys back in first and foremost, and we'll start. This time of the year we're winding down the regular season. We got a playoff picture on both sides, and I understand that you're the man to talk to about both teams' playoff pictures coming up. But before we get into that, just kind of if each one of you guys would kind of catch us up on how your teams have been doing.
Right now, as we said, the boys they're 8-10. We had a pretty rough stretch before spring break, and we were on a 6-game losing streak, and that kind of really hurt the morale. But before we went to spring break, we played 6A Chelsea and ended up coming away with a loss of 1-0, which was really motivating for our team and helped us kind of bounce back. And then had a couple good games, and then faced another juggernaut in Southside, and it's been one of those things where we're playing really, really tough teams to have that competitive balance going into playoffs.
When you start heading down the stretch and you get to look back on some of those games like a Southside or a Chelsea, how important is that to say, hey, look, we've already been here, we've played teams like this before, and we competed on the highest level against them?
It's definitely good, especially for the mindset going into a tough game. I always try to bring it up to them and say, hey, we've played some good teams. Don't think you haven't played any good teams. We've played some really, really tough teams, and just having that motivation going forward has really, really helped us in some games, especially the area games.
All right. Same kind of question for you. Just kind of catch us up with the girls. I know we just talked about a big win you guys had last weekend, but just overall.
I think the same thing that Coach Mario has been through with the boys, I've been through with the girls. Like, our streak, our losing streak is much greater than our winning streak. I mean, we traveled, we were losing. We were playing home, we were losing. And like he said, it hurts the morale of the team. And he's always said, like, when we're winning, everybody loves it. Your team loves each other. We're headed the right direction. But when we're losing, it's hard. It's hard as a coach, and it's hard to see your girls in a position where you're just like, what more can we do? What more can we do? And I think it really picked them up when we traveled to Crossville. And we played 3 area games, and we went into overtime every single one of them. So winning that Crossville game really helped us. And I think, like I said, like we were just talking about earlier, that Boaz game, we were up 2-1 at the half, and Boaz came back, and we went into overtime again. And with 20 seconds left, I think something clicked. So when we won, and the girls got to celebrate that win on Saturday.
What have you learned from the girls this season, going through those hard times, and they could have easily quit and just packed it in and said, hey man, this season's over, our career's over, whatever. But they fought through and get a big victory like that. What have you learned from the girls about their character?
They have to really dig deep. When I think exhaustion sets in for them a lot of the time, when, like, for example, the Boaz game, when they're like, we have it, and then it just kind of gets taken away in that second half, and you're like, you just have to play 5 minutes. If you can get it done in 5 minutes, like, you have to dig deep for 5 minutes and either win it, and who's going to want it more?
That's right.
You or them. So I feel like they've just had to learn, like, we can give a little more than we have. So.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, you gotta pull all the stops now. So we're talking playoffs. So we'll go back to the coach right here, and playoff scenario for you guys and the girls. If you could kind of go through that to catch all the fans up.
Playoffs for the boys. Tomorrow we have a huge game, and that would be an understatement on how big the game is. We went to Crossville and played them real tough. Like Coach was saying, we played them to the nail. We were up at the half. They come back, storming back, and tie it up. We go into extra time and first overtime and second overtime, and ended up going all the way to penalty kicks. And luckily for us, we have really pushed that this season of staying composed and taking your shot whenever it presents itself. And our guys did a really good job at taking our kicks, and unfortunately Crossville did not. But if we win tonight, we have the head-to-head matchup with Crossville in case of if it's a tiebreaker scenario. But if we lose, we have to kind of expect Boaz to beat Crossville, and that would kind of seal our fate for us. It's not in our hands; it's in their hands.
Basically, if you win, you seal your own fate.
Yes.
That's what you want, though.
So, and that's really what you want. You want to be in control of the results and not wait on someone else. So.
On the girls' side, what does it look like?
I think they're Boaz is up 2-1, or they might be 2-1, yeah. And but Douglas girls are 2-1 as well. Mm-hmm. And Crossville, I think, they still have an opportunity with the next 2 games. So they've lost twice. So they would have to.
They'd have to
win both games coming up. So
okay.
They pretty much have their fate in their hands too. So tomorrow is a big game for them. They can put them out, or same thing like us, is just kind of waiting game.
Bottom line, you guys both win tomorrow, you guarantee yourselves playoff spots.
Pretty much, I believe so, yeah.
That's good. I know you guys got to go to lunch and you're ready to get out of here. One last thing, just final thoughts heading into these all-important games tomorrow night.
Especially throughout the season, I tell these guys, you got beginning of the season form, mid-season form, and the final stretch where you've already been through a bunch of stuff, and then you can pull out all that stuff that you have played in those past games and just kind of incorporate it in the last few games that we have. So we have Crossville tomorrow night, big area game. We win that game, we can go into Thursday's game just kind of comfortable and really preparing for the playoffs. But
that's right.
I feel like that's just one of the biggest things is once you get into that playoff mentality, everything changes, the season resets. You're no longer looking at your old record, you're starting a new one.
New season.
So
I like it. Coach, same question for you.
Just final thoughts on kind of like Coach Mario says, always tell my girls, or here lately I've been telling them, like, especially going into these games, like, if you want to win, you'll win. So go in, give it all you got. So I think I'm just going to lean into that tomorrow, like, to reminding these girls, like, you can win, but you have to go out there and want to win. I like what Coach Mario said about the resetting. If we make it to the playoffs, like, I've never really thought about it that way, and that's something that I can tell my girls too, to forget about what season we had and look forward to playoff potential.
Absolutely. I like it, man. Good luck to you guys, man, moving forward. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, we're back with another episode of Keeping Up with Douglas Athletics, and it's time to talk a little baseball. And Coach, kind of catch us up, man, since we got to see you. It's been a couple of weeks since we got to talk to you. Just catch us up on everything with the sharpest looking hat in the game.
Yes, sir. So I think this is the last time we finished up our area play. We ended up coming in second in the area, so we get the chance to play in the playoffs. This Friday we head to Madison Academy for the first round of the playoffs. So we just been kind of preparing for that. We got a game today against Section. Going to kind of try to just use it as a tune-up game, let all our pitchers throw, hitters get to see some live pitching today. So so we're just kind of preparing for that on Friday.
Coach, you see this all the time, and I'm not by no means comparing you guys to the MLB or the MLB to you guys, but you see this all the time. If you don't play live baseball in between that game, how many times have you seen these divisional winners get beat by the wild card team because they ain't been seeing live ball?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny that you say that because so many coaches over the last few days have been reaching out trying to get one more game in, or try to get one more game on the schedule so that break isn't so long, because others might disagree, but hitting the baseball is probably one of the hardest things to do. So if you lay off some time without getting that visual of it actually coming from a pitcher, and just getting that feel and just being in the box, it's definitely difficult. and I don't want Friday to be the first time in a week that they've seen live pitching. So, it's very important to have those games set up to kind of roll right into your playoff series.
You're playing Madison Academy. I'm sure, have you got to already break down some film on them and take a look at them?
Yes, sir. We have, and they're a really good ball club. They swing it well. They got some good arms that's going to throw it and challenge our hitters. So, they're definitely a really good baseball team. Their coach really well. Coach Presley over there, he does a good job. Just talking with everyone that I have on them, they are a team that's not unfamiliar with the playoffs. So, they'll be a good team. We're just going to show up and get out there and compete. That's what I tell my guys to do. No matter who we're playing, whether we're picked to win or, we're the underdog, we want to go out there and just compete just like it's another day.
You guys have played some competition this year to get you ready for this time. Talk about that now.
Yeah.
Let that you kind of lean on that going into this series.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Especially when in being in an area that's pretty strong with, teams that are typically playoff teams. You can't play a weak schedule, then, get in the airplay, then you're shell shocked, or you get into your first playoff series and you're shell shocked. So I try to balance it. I want my guys to understand that every game that you go out there and play, you're not going to be picked to win. I want to see how they, respond to the adversity of being an underdog. So I really, make sure I keep that in mind when I'm scheduling teams. I mean, we played, multiple 6As, 7A teams. This season and competed well against them, so I'm proud of those guys for that. But when we're getting into this, first round series, it's not the first time they've seen good hitters. Our pitchers, it's not the first time our hitters have seen good pitching. We faced some really good arms throughout the course of this season. So, just kind of hoping that we can fall back on that, and the guys know that, we can get in the box and we can compete. Defensively we can make the plays on good hitters. So, hoping that all pays off when you get to a series like this.
You play all year for this moment to get to the playoffs. You're here now. What's your overall thoughts on this team?
Well, like I said, talking about my ball club.
Yeah, your team.
Man, these guys, I'm senior heavy. I count on a lot of seniors on this ball club. So, I'm proud of those guys for kind of stepping up and just leading us day in and day out, doing what they're supposed to be doing. Just kind of showing the younger guys that, it takes what it takes. I was talking with a couple coaches yesterday, and I think this is the first time in Douglas baseball history that we've been to the playoffs back-to-back years. And I could be wrong on that, but just kind of talking with those guys, so that's big, and I'm trying to just make sure these underclassmen understand that, this it's a privilege to be here. Every year, just because you show up to play baseball, it doesn't mean that you make the playoffs. You got to put in the work it takes to get there. So, I'm just hoping that those guys rolled off. And, this team has really been a team of perseverance. And these guys, the seniors that I'm with now, kind of were my first group, I just got here 3 years ago. So they were young, they kind of had to just jump on the boat and hope it stayed afloat. So I'm proud of those guys for that. And, I really cherish the moments that I've had with those guys. And, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm proud of not only the baseball players that they are, but the young men that they've kind of grown into be.
Coach, I don't want to keep you all day. I know you're busy. Just final thoughts heading into this all-important practice week, this game today to tune everything up, and then Fridays.
Yes, sir. Like I said, man, we just want to, I don't want it to be anything different. I want to try to keep it as, day-to-day as we normally do. As far as practice goes, just kind of going over situational stuff. Making sure we get cuts in. And then, like I said, today, we just want to kind of tune up. We want to have some gameplay, so, maybe some scenarios pop up that we can kind of go over. You kind of remember, we might need to cover that going into that series. So, like I said, whatever happens on Friday, I'm still proud of this team. I'm proud of them for staying together. We don't really have much of that internal issue. So, I'm very thankful for that. So I'm proud of the guys for sticking together. The seniors for doing what they do for us. My coaches, they put in hours and on hours as far as scouting or, just preparing in this season. So, I'm thankful for those guys. For the parents, they do a lot too. So, I'm just thankful. Plays a big part in this. So, we're going to roll out there Friday and see what we can do.
Coach, I appreciate you sitting in with us, and congratulations on having the best hat in the state of Alabama. And looking forward to seeing you guys today. I'll be back up here to shoot you guys some pictures.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That might went dead.